Thank you for joining us for the McGuire presentation. My name is Lisa Miller, and I am the Territory Manager here with Baker Interiors Group. I oversee the Seattle showroom as well as help our dealer partners in the Northwest that carry our brands. And the Baker Interiors Group consists of Baker Furniture, Milling Road Furniture, and of course the beautiful McGuire brand. And that's what we're going to focus in on today, and hopefully be able to share a little bit more information with you. I am going to be reading from some notes, so bear with me. There's a lot of information to cover. We're going to talk about finish and craftsmanship and design. So hopefully there'll be some really good information that I'll be sharing that you'll learn a little something about McGuire that you didn't know before. As far as chat or answering questions along the way, this is a pretty lengthy PowerPoint, so I'm going to go through it, and certainly if you have questions, we will get those answered at the end or in the next little bit, so that we don't leave anything unanswered if you have further questions about McGuire. So let's start with McGuire. John and Eleanor started McGuire in 1948, and their goal was to reinterpret natural materials into objects of perfect proportion and design, defining a new concept of casual luxury. John and Eleanor's vision was to move indoor and outdoor closer together, to blur the sophistication of design with ease and flair. The design and craftsmanship are at the forefront of McGuire, of course. Those are the priorities, and comfort and functionality remain the result. So we have beautiful forms as well as a high level of comfort. This is one of the iconic pieces from McGuire, the butterfly chair. This is one of their first designs. And John and Eleanor forged a new path as the best in class of materials and quality, and the quality of workmanship in the area and arena of rattan, which hadn't really been done before. And this was almost 70 years ago. McGuire has always been recognized as best in class in the category of rattan furniture, and it's branched out into bamboo, different wood species, and many other materials that we're going to explore during this PowerPoint. Like anything, when you interact with McGuire, you have a very tactile experience. It has a very unique material, and it raises the senses. McGuire's attention to subtle detail is more of what they look for rather than a production mandate. It's a design philosophy. So this is a photo of John and Eleanor McGuire. And their story is that when John was in naval school, in Naval Flight School in Pensacola, Florida, he was introduced to Eleanor as she was teaching navigation there. So that would have been very progressive, probably well back in 1948 or so, or actually sooner than that. They married, and then after World War II, while living in San Francisco, John was introduced to rattan furniture by a friend who had been living in Asia. The McGuires were intrigued by the possibilities of rattan furniture and the capabilities of the material, and so that's when they started their business. This may be familiar to some. Gump's department store was a beautiful and very sophisticated San Francisco store that specialized in Asian furniture, art, and accessories. And they befriended the design director there. Her name was Eleanor Forbes, and she had great taste and an eye for design. They got to be good friends. And as the story goes, they had became good friends, and she loved what they were doing, loved the materials, but never bought any chairs from them. And they finally asked her why she wouldn't purchase anything from them, and she stated that their designs were lacking at that time. So she actually was a great influence on them as they went forward with their new company. She truly liked the McGuires and began to tutor them in the nuance of design, so that to the point where they eventually became connoisseurs of Asian design, all to the betterment of McGuire's product assortment. And this is a snapshot of Eleanor. So some of the early pieces were actually influenced by Eleanor Forbes. This is a picture of the director's chair, and this was an example of something that she helped them put together and design. And this is a very iconic piece for McGuire and was directly influenced by Eleanor Forbes. This relationship reminds us of the great relationship that we have with our guest designers as well, in bringing to the forefront really beautiful design and things perhaps that help us to think outside the box. Of course, one of the mainstays of McGuire is to bring the outdoors in and vice versa. The feel and the interactions that it will that will come from it, both indoor and outdoor. And McGuire really truly captures an essence of natural luxury. It's unpretentious and very relaxed in its approach, but very sophisticated at the same time. And then that same intention applies to garden and kitchen. And here we have a wonderful example of the Hayes counter stools pulled up to an island, and then the beautiful gondola chair in a wonderful outdoor setting. So McGuire lives seamlessly, both indoors and outdoors. And then we can also see from the next slide, the McGuire's application certainly can be used in commercial commercial projects. And this is a shot of the Ritz-Carlton in Maui. And the durability of rattan can easily hold up to commercial settings. McGuire has been used extensively in commercial applications. And again, the design is clearly to bring the outdoors in, as you can see from this beautiful shot. And it just floats in the room and just really grounds it as well. It's very organic in its feel. McGuire is used extensively as well in premium restaurants. It holds up extremely well. It's very durable. And it becomes the key design element in these kinds of projects. It's easy also to manage in residential projects. So we'll talk a little bit about design. It's a critical component for any luxury object, especially in our world of furniture. McGuire has distinguished itself by using forms that are timeless and its unconventional use of different materials. We'll see as we go forward that we have a new designer collection. This is from Nicole Hollis, who is, I believe, based in Chicago. And we're really fortunate to work with many guest designers, many of the same guest designers that do beautiful collections for us in Baker also will design for us in McGuire. And this is Nicole Hollis's offering. This is where we are today with McGuire. It really is an evolution from its rattan beginnings. The broad range of assortment now is very bold and audacious. There's something different and new for everyone. Each season, we pretty much introduce a new collection for McGuire every time we do a market, every 6 months. At least once a year, there'll be a new offering or a new collection for McGuire as well. So it's a brand that we are exploring and expanding and are very excited about ourselves. And really seeing where we can take it with different materials and blending in the beautiful rattan pieces that are so unique and inspirational to McGuire. This next page is really a nod to our heritage and the legacy of McGuire. It's just a catalog page from a previous McGuire catalog. And you can see, again, that the assortment of chairs in McGuire is very extensive. There's recognizable forms in there, certainly the Target chair, the cracked ice chair. There's some really beautiful pieces in here, and then some new pieces that have been added for kitchen and outdoor. So really for unique chairs and something that will add a new material story to the room. I think McGuire is kind of just a no-brainer. It really does add a new element of design to what you might be doing for your client. And then these are some of our future icons. We're using unconventional materials again. They're rich in both texture and in sculpture. their inspirations from Scandinavian design you see with the Barbara Berry new chair, as well as from ancient civilizations. Having mentioned the cracked ice chair, it's a very iconic piece. It's done in both indoor and outdoor. And this is a very classic design, the oval back, and then the interior that has random placed fretwork that replicates the look of cracked ice. Really beautiful in a room. And then here again, we see what's old is new, and there's always references to past furniture periods of time. And we tied the geometry of the Barbara Berry oval back chair. It's elegant and simple with a cane back that reveals the X. Very iconic to Barbara Berry's pieces, both in McGuire and in Baker. And we can see how contemporary variations on the Louis XVI chair are reflected in the Barbara Berry chair, and that has been a popular form ever since its creation around 1770. So again, pieces that were created many, many years ago have new life breathed into them as we go forward with new material story, and just a little different take on a very iconic form and a very familiar form. And then in this slide, we see the Manu chair. Again, it has historical roots. The rattan poles that you see on this chair are joined by 3 deep and aggregated forms. So they're 3 deep, and the result is very sculptural. So again, it becomes a very unique point of interest kind of piece in a room, something that can be talked about. The ring chair from Laura Carrar, again, is one of our best-selling pieces. It's a beautiful barrel chair. It takes the idea of modernizing forms that are very familiar. And this is something that the modernists of the 20th century did all the time, and that we continue to do. So this approach really is not anything that's new. We can see here that we have an early Art Deco Bergère chair made in Paris around 1910. And its style was copied from a style that was found in the 18th century. And then Laura Carrar, of course, has taken that same sort of style and reinterpreted it in rattan and done these beautiful rings, which lend themselves to either being tonal or doing them in a different finish for a more dramatic look, but a really, really beautiful chair. I'm going to go through these slides quickly. There's quite a few. So I'm trying to watch my time as well, so I don't keep you too long. Here we have the Barbara Berry dining room table. So again, McGuire is not just all rattan furniture. We have branched out into many different kinds of materials and materials story. This is a really beautiful, highly figured walnut that's used on her new table. And really our mission in McGuire is to explore the possibilities of form and function and of materials, and to be able to give you different options to blend those beautiful rattan chairs with, or different rattan pieces with, and certainly be able to use them in all sorts of different settings. Let's see. We'll go on to materials and craftsmanship. McGuire really does have a very, very interesting craft story. It's one of my favorites. And we're really fortunate in that we own our own facility in Indonesia, and we have control over all of the materials being used, the craftsmanship, the workmanship. We bring those whitewood pieces, if you will, the whitewood rattan, and we finish them here in North Carolina in our facility. And we just have control over the entire process, which is really unique as well. McGuire's material story has expanded in recent years, but we'll first look at the rattan story, kind of what began McGuire almost 70 years ago. So it's really fun. John and Eleanor had a very unique vision that rattan furniture could be elevated by design and detailed craftsmanship to be a luxury furniture, even if it was executed in a material that was generally associated with more of a casual lifestyle. We're going to dig into the details of this material story and talk a little bit more about rattan and how unique and wonderful it is. So here's a really iconic shot of our beautiful rattan target chair. Rattan itself is a solid pole. As it grows, it is a climbing, flexible vine that thrives in the jungles of Southeast Asia. Rattan requires some structural support as it grows. The wider the diameter of the pole of rattan, the older the plant. Our classic rattan designs pair with signature rawhide bindings, which you're seeing this wonderful close-up shot of. We'll talk about those a little bit in just a minute. And McGuire really sets the standard for the finest rattan furniture available in the world today. This is a really interesting shot in that we're showing an example of how we steam bend the rattan. So we steam it into shape. Before we do that, the rattan pole itself starts at about 3 to 4 millimeters larger in diameter. We have to hone it or shave it to the diameter that's needed. And if you look closely at our rattan pieces, you'll see that it's not just one diameter width of rattan that's used throughout any of our chairs or the pieces in our showroom. They're all different diameters. So traditional poles, most common in McGuire, refer to peeled rattan, where we're taking the outer layer off, showing the smooth, consistent grain pattern. And that's what you're seeing in that one shot where he's steam bending it as well. So that outer layer has been peeled away to expose the innermost part of the pole and to achieve more of a smooth surface. Rattan is a flexible material as well. It can be shaped by steam bending or placing it in a mold. Again, a solid material. So we're using steam to form our pole, and it preserves the rattan's integrity and strength. So once, and we use steel forms and jigs for bending and fitting to ensure accuracy and consistency. And once this pole has been bent into shape, it will not move. It retains that shape. So once it sets up, it doesn't move. We cope, glue, screw, or dowel all the joints for maximum stability. And then the cope step allows the poles to interact. So the coping step is really just being able to carve out different areas of the pole so that each pole will intersect with the other and form a strong bond. So you can see we can carve out the semicircle to allow them to become flush. Because the pole is round, we cope it or carve out or shape that area that we want where the poles are going to come together. And really it's kind of almost like putting together a puzzle. Rattan is extremely durable. It doesn't break, chip, or splinter. And rattan is a member of the palm family. It's fast growing and can grow to hundreds of meters long. That is what qualifies rattan as being sustainable, since it replaces itself quickly once harvested. Approximately 70% of the world's rattan comes from Indonesia. It makes sense that our rattan facility is located there and where all McGuire McGuire rattan is sourced. So you can see with the concave base in this slide as well, it's possible to create very sculptural forms and complex curves with rattan. We also align the grain of our screw and dowel plugs with the grain of our poles. Again, adds to the beauty and then also the stability. And then we've got the underside of a ottoman base here. Again, it's simple, modern ottoman, but simplicity can be deceiving. You can see all the work that goes into this. When we look at the underside, an area where nobody really sees, we can appreciate the complexity of the joinery. The quality of the weaving is the same quality you would find on the visible surface as well. So we don't skimp anywhere on our pieces from the underside to this top side. It's all done with quality craftsmanship. We use rattan in a number of different ways. Let me see, I just want to make sure I'm on the right slide. Peeled in its original thickness as a solid pole that we've talked about. And then 3 different alternatives that adapt rattan for weaving. Rattan peel is the outermost skin of the rattan pole and can be used for weaving, also called split. Rattan caning uses the inverse of the peel. The inverse of the peel accepts a finish better than the outer side of the peel and is used more frequently because of it. And then we also have the rattan core, which refers to the process of cutting the core of the rattan pole into skinny strips for weaving. So we use rattan, we use all parts of the rattan, and we use it in many different ways. This is a nice shot of the Canaan chair. This is from our guest designers, Marmel and Ratzinger. And so this is a good example of flattened rattan or planed rattan. It has a much more modern point of view to it and allows the finish of the rattan to be on the highlight. You can see those grain markings of the rattan, which is really lovely. Our hand-stained finishes use water-soluble dyes, and our stains are low VOCs. So it means that it's also better for the environment. And then again, another very unique element of McGuire furniture is the lace, the rawhide lace up. So originally the idea of rattan, what people have been chasing from McGuire is the rawhide joinery. We are one of a handful of companies, if not the only company, that uses it this extensively and truly started with this kind of joinery and have perfected it. You can see from the beautiful weaving of that rawhide joinery on the arm, how precise our craftsmen are, and then throughout the piece. So we wrap the joints with moistened rawhide to ensure a permanent bond. The innovation is that rawhide is applied wet so that when it dries, it shrinks and it forms a very tight joint that is impossible to separate. The McGuires perfected the use of rawhide in the late 1940s and turned this essential material and method into a signature design element of McGuire. Rawhide is an animal skin that has not been exposed to tanning, and it's similar to parchment. It can be used in lots of different ways. Here again, we see some beautiful examples of rawhide being used. We have the gondola chair. So fashion helps to dictate where we might do rawhide joinery or what we might do with our rawhide as well. On the rocking chair, the Exalt rocking chair, we have a beautiful rawhide weave that you're seeing. So the precision of the weaving of rawhide around the joints is all clean and exactly alike. That's very important to us. And this is done consistently and in the same way. And then the precision of the weaving. This is really artisanal work. Weaving is done entirely by hand, and it's used doing in methods that have been passed down from generation to generation. And then this is a really great example, again, of making rawhide kind of the star of the piece. This is the Crin bar stool from Stephen Volpe, again, another guest designer from McGuire. And this shows the rawhide as large straps to sit upon. And the steel framework is wrapped carefully in rawhide. So it becomes a very decorative element of the stool. And then you see also the rattan poles. So it really is a wonderful material story that's being used on a piece like this. And then this is a close-up of our Jolie chair. This is a wonderful rawhide lounge chair that has been in the lineup for quite some time. The textures and the tactile and the visual effect of this chair is just beautiful. It's delicate in its design, but it's incredibly strong. It has thick strips of rawhide that are tightly wrapped around softly curved rattan sides. And it's just a really lovely piece to see from the side and from all different points of view. This is a great shot of the bamboo that we use at McGuire. So bamboo is an evergreen plant that grows throughout Asia. It is the fastest growing and most replenishable plant on Earth. That is the only similar story with rattan, actually. So there are differences. Bamboo is hollow, rattan is not. And it's part of the grass family, which rattan is actually a vine. So it goes straight up on its own. Rattan needs to be supported. It also it also has breaks or crosswise membranes that form the distinct nodules. And just as rattan, McGuire is highly selective in the bamboo it uses. So we only use the best quality of bamboo throughout our pieces. The side of this chair shows you the different coloring bamboo can come in as well. We use a black bamboo consistently. Bamboo does not take finish, so the coloration needs to be consistent. You can see that there are different colors within black bamboo itself. So we try to marry them up and to really create a very aesthetically pleasing look. And then a very iconic piece is our bamboo table. This has been in the lineup, gosh, I think since the beginning. So the uneven nature of bamboo sometimes allows the welded metal frame of the table to be visible. So we have brass caps that can cover that top if you like, or you can leave it without the brass cap and be a little bit more organic looking. Bamboo is truly timeless in home fashions, both modern and traditional interpretations. And then we also use beautiful stone. So you see in the one slide, we have the, let's see, the Moldero and Halen spot tables in honed graffito marble. Our marbles are generally Italian marbles, and again, they're the finest quality. And then the travertine top on the Calistoga dining table is casual yet very elegant. The travertine has fibrous or concentric appearance and has a warm cream colored tone. It'll have natural small holes throughout, which we allow to stay in this natural state. We also use a really unique material in these coconut shell beads. So these are beads that are actually carved from coconut shell. They're strung together and then glued in a spiral pattern to create an exotic look. It's either in the bleached or in the black. And it's another textural delight as you run your hand over it, or we can also order up a glass top if you prefer. But it really is a very unique material to be used and speaks to the craftsmanship of what we can do at McGuire. And then again, another really unique material, Lampicane, is a wetland fiber from the Philippines. And you see this in our beautiful mirror and the console. And again, these are Nicole Hollis pieces in her lighter tone. She did a black tone finish and then a natural tone finish. Let's see, it's very distinguished by the weave of the fiber, and we've achieved these beautiful diamond patterns on the console. The Lampicane grassy stems can be braided and are used as trimmings or veneers on a number of McGuire's designs. So it's really a unique material story, and again, adds that kind of different look to a room, and certainly a material that can be talked about and lends itself really beautifully to the casual lifestyle that we're all about in the Northwest. Danish cord is used extensively throughout McGuire, and Danish cord again was brought to the forefront by the designs of Hans Wagner in the mid-1920s. And it's created by artisans wrapping a 3-ply paper around a wire or a filament. And Danish cord over time will soften, and it will also take on a patina. And here we show it in the black. We also have it in natural as well that we use throughout McGuire. And then split cane, we're seeing some pretty examples of the split cane here on this ottoman. We also have a large cocktail table. And I believe these, again, are Nicole Hollis designs. And so woven canes are made from the strips of the skin of rattan, known as the peel or the split of the caning. And then after wetting the cane, it's skillfully stretched and applied along the grooves surrounding the frame and then secured. It's finished off with an application of rattan core along the grooves known as spline for a seamless tailored look. It's then allowed to dry, and it achieves the proper tension as it becomes completely dry. Here we've again done a beautiful sunburst pattern, and you can see the different variations of how we've applied the split cane to this piece. And then we also do what's called woven cane. This is a subtle but important element within McGuire upholstery. And it allows us the ability to add texture to the sides of McGuire upholstery with the woven cane. This frames the softness of the upholstery and truly highlights the comfort while creating a structured look in the woven panels. And then we have wood and metal that's used throughout McGuire. The McGuire artisans use a number of beautiful and elite hardwoods to create our products, from oak to walnut. These hardwoods are selected for their color uniformity and grain pattern that complement rattan, Danish cord, and caning. And then the metal just integrates seamlessly with McGuire designs. The strength of metal, we like the idea of hand forging in McGuire. Again, it really speaks to that casual elegance. And then we have wood softness with wood. So this chair is has a modern personality with the flush joints and the soft radius curve of the front rail as it seamlessly flows into the arm. In most cases, the soft look or the double needle seams are standard on our seat cushions and back pillows. And that's a unique thing to McGuire. And we can do it with a welted edge for you as well. So you just let us know. And then we have a beautiful oak chair with an exposed dowel. This is a rattan chair that has exposed dowels that secure the various rails of the seat front to back. I'm not sure if you can see it that well, but this is a beautiful Barberberry collection piece for McGuire. This was something that the modernists were proud of, displaying the art, the craftsmanship required to build a well-made piece of furniture, where the joinery was integrated into the other joints and all seemed to be seamlessly secured. As you get closer and closer to the upholstery story, we do all of our upholstery for McGuire in North Carolina. So again, the finishing and the upholstery of any of our McGuire pieces is done in North Carolina. Here's a unique piece, again, from our new collection from Barberberry. This collection in particular was introduced, I want to say 2.5 markets ago. And this is a really beautiful piece of upholstery. It represents our newer approach to McGuire and kind of blends or blurs between McGuire and Baker. All of McGuire upholstery, fully upholstered pieces, are again made in our High Point Baker upholstery facility that has been around, gosh, for many, many years. I've been with the company 26 years, and we've always made upholstery in High Point, North Carolina. So I'd venture to say it's been a lot longer than that even. But just really beautiful, really highlights the ability that we have to tailor beautiful pieces of upholstery and to really execute on the design of someone like a Barberberry. So the Cloud series, let's see, you have your fabric choices. Used to be that McGuire, when it started out, was to the trade only, and now we've opened that up. But it used to also be that you could only use COMs on McGuire, and now we integrated all of our fabrics. We have about 800 of them, and any of our fabrics can be graded onto your McGuire pieces. Our fabrics certainly can also be used as COM for other companies. But I think one of the best things we did in the last 10 years was to integrate our fabrics so that you can put them on any of your McGuire pieces and be able to have a little bit of a cost savings in doing so. If you look back at the beginning of McGuire, it was actually accent furniture. It was meant to be supported with other things in the room. The balance of rattan and fully upholstered items now makes perfect sense with today's styling. So we really have expanded the lifestyle offering of McGuire and made it just so much more than what it started out as, but still keep the legacy and the beautiful design philosophy that really set McGuire apart from the very beginning. We're going to talk a little bit about McGuire's finish process. We have finish capabilities that speak to customization. Truly, there are beautiful finishes within McGuire, and we can also do so much more than that. Rattan accepts a variety of paints and stains, similar to what wood does, so it can be finished to work in a variety of different settings. Here you see our finished trays, and we have these here in the showroom. So we can show you examples of all of the different finishes that are unique to McGuire. There are 50 of them. You can do different sheen levels. We certainly also will do finishes to match. So we can do strike-offs and do custom finishes on rattan. So really whatever you dream or want us to do with regards to finish on your McGuire rattan piece, we can certainly achieve that. Again, these finishes are designed to highlight the natural characteristics of rattan, and they're water-soluble dyes and have a low VOC, so they're good for the environment. They're also all done by hand, so they involve coloring, glazing, and in some cases, gold or silver leafing. The butterfly chair in this slide is a good example. On the right-hand side, we're seeing a beautiful example of this chair done completely in silver leaf. And then I'm not sure what the other finish is. It might be seagrass is one of the finishes that is in the McGuire offering. But this is a really iconic chair, really beautiful, done in 2 different finishes. Really highlights the personality of this chair when you do it 2 different ways. The finishes are comprised of 3 core processes. So there's a glaze, a custom tinted color. There's a sealer or top coat, which is a protective layer that is UV inhibited to maintain the color. And then there's a clear varnish that's applied. So there's, it's at least a 3-step process. There's also hand padding and glazing that's also involved. Here we showed the finishing on the back of a Target chair. Again, one of my favorite pieces and very iconic to what we do at McGuire. You're seeing here where our craftsman is actually adding color. The outer ring of that chair has been done, I believe, in silver leaf, and then he's adding one of the main wood finishes to the inner ring. So you really truly can customize a lot of McGuire's pieces. It just depends on where your imagination will take you. Let's see, this was a client who wanted a combination finish. The inside ring of the chair has been stained, so he's staining it right now. And then the outside ring has been silver leafed. Let's see, on the leafing process, it takes 12 steps to do leafing here at McGuire. So there's 12 different steps to achieve the expert craftsmanship and finish. They're all completed by hand and very labor intensive. He has to mask off all different parts of that chair except for that outer ring so that the leafing will take in just the right spot. So small squares of silver or gold leaf are adhered entirely to the rattan frame. Excess leafing is brushed off. Exposing portions of rattan, squares of leafing are adhered and sanded off repeatedly until the frame is completely covered in multiple layers before the frame is sprayed with a top coat for a distinctive shine. So very labor intensive to do any of the leafing. Really beautiful though. And then we have the Laura Carrar barrel chair, again, one of our favorites. And here you can see the different personality it takes on by the different finishes it takes. I've seen this chair done with the rings in silver leafing as well, and one of the regular stains on the supporting poles, and it is just amazing, very dynamic, really beautiful. But you can also do 2 of our regular type 1 McGuire finishes on it, and it's really gorgeous, or do it all tonal as we're seeing here. It's really a fun chair to be able to do a lot of customization with. And then the different range of colors and sheens. Again, the 50 different colors. We have 2 different sheen levels. We have a matte sheen and then our regular sheen. And then we can also do color matches. So truly, whatever you want us to do as far as finish and color in McGuire, we can do it for you. And then I'll take us through the guest designers fairly quickly because looks like we're running out of time. I knew this would go long, so thank you for hanging in there with me. But we are really proud of our ability to attract just some of the brightest and most talented guest designers. Again, many of them design for us in the Baker world as well as in McGuire. So we're really fortunate that we can have the best of their designs in both of those worlds, and it really complements one another going from Baker to McGuire and vice versa. So here we see Barbara Berry. She's one of our favorites. Again, the collection that we were seeing, the Cloud Sofa and a few of those other pieces was her most recent collection with McGuire. She grew up in California. She's a perfect match for McGuire's core values. She certainly understands casual elegance. She's guided by classic design that's reimagined in natural materials. And then early in her career, those materials were about bits and pieces in a room, but now her entire collection fits this. And she really is very drawn to the outdoors and the use of natural materials. And McGuire is just such a great complement to what her whole design philosophy is. Barbara's definitely inspired by simple designs and by the outdoors. You see the colors that she's used here. She actually trained as a watercolorist in Paris when she was a young lady. And Barbara has been with us and part of Baker since 1996. And I believe it was not too long after that that she started doing a collection, doing collections for McGuire as well. So she has been a long time guest designer with us, and we're really proud to be able to partner with her. She has a passion for color, but her colors again are more muted, and a good way to describe it, or in her words, as she would describe colors, she would say not purple, but dusty amethyst, not green, but pond scum green. So she's very descriptive in how she describes color. She has a way of looking at things with nature. She lives now in Ojai, California. And so she lives a non-Hollywood life. She used to live in Hollywood, but now she's in her element. That's where she really thrives, is being able to see and be a part of nature always. And so we're seeing the Barbara Berry living room from McGuire. This again was part of her latest collection. And I'll just take us through some of these slides quickly. You see the beautiful rattan forms. And again, this form is very familiar to us. This is kind of where Barbara started. She had that arch at the top of the chair, and now it's kind of translated to the bottom. But just a really beautiful form for her settee. And then the Barbara Berry bedroom. Again, this is one of her new pieces. We do have a few of these pieces on the floor here at this design center. The Hana chair we have, I don't believe we're getting the bedroom, but it is really spectacular. It's done in a highly figured walnut on the back. That's the Sublime bed. Or is it? I'm sorry. I think that might be the panorama bed. And that was for Baker. So we're blending Baker and McGuire Barbara Berry pieces in this slide. And then this is Nicole Hollis. Again, these are those beautiful grass woven pieces, and in the 2 different finishes that were offered. Works out of Chicago, is a really talented young designer, and we're doing more and more with Nicole. And then again, these are more Nicole Hollis pieces, her interior for the living room. Beautiful console. We have that console and that mirror, and actually the Exalt chair in our showroom So come see those pieces in person. And then again, one of our favorites is Thomas Pheasant. He has been with us, golly, I want to say at least 15, maybe 16 years now. He's been designing for Baker and for McGuire. Very talented, grew up in Washington, DC. He has academic training in architecture, very talented. And then here we're seeing a wonderful shot of Thomas Pheasant outdoor. So beautiful, again, woven, extruded resin that's being used on these pieces, and then the aluminum supports. So all of our outdoor pieces are of the highest quality. And again, Sue or David can tell you a little bit more about our outdoor and the process that's used. I won't take too much time on it, but I'll just mention that we use the best of materials and the best process for any of our outdoor pieces. And here we have Laura Carrar again. Laura and her husband relocated to the Yucatan, and that's Laura with her rescue pups, which I love, so cute. But she just has a really beautiful laid back style and design philosophy. And I think her pieces in McGuire are some of my favorites. And again, these are great examples of Laura Carr's pieces. We've got in the top corner there, the Guarnica chair. We have that on our floor. And that is a really unique piece. Over 300 strips of rawhide that are different lengths. And golly, I believe it is over 20 hours to manufacture that chair. And then in the bottom corner, again, is her beautiful lounge chair. And then one of her unique beds. So there's, again, a really amazing material story that's used throughout the pieces that Laura does with us. And then this is the architectural team of Marmol and Ratzinger, and they are based in Los Angeles. And again, we see their pieces are just very clean lines. There's that beautiful Harn table that has the sculptural metal legs. And then we've got Pamela Holmes. In the forefront are her concrete indoor-outdoor tables, and these are all handmade. And we'll get a better shot of those. And in the background is the beautiful gondola series for outdoor as well. And then these are the Pamela Holmes concrete pieces. They're hollowed out concrete, and so they can be moved. And what's really unique about these pieces is Pamela, it's only a team of 2, and she literally goes out into, she's in Northern California, goes out and gathers the foliage that's pressed into the concrete. So each piece is going to be unique, and we sell these pieces directly from our floor, as each one is going to be very unique. And then Kara Mann, Kara did a wonderful collection for us through Milling Road, and we're going forward now. Just spring of 2020 is when we launched the Kara Mann collection for McGuire. And so you see all of our guest designers will start with sketches, and then it transforms into a really beautiful chair. So again, I haven't seen this in person myself. I haven't been back to market. I didn't go back this fall either, but we will expect to get some of these pieces on our floor too. And then a little bit about outdoor. We're seeing wonderful gondola pieces throughout, and again, some more of the Pamela Holmes. These are just really beautiful lifestyle shots. Antique is a really wonderful outdoor material. It has natural oils, so it repels the moisture. And we've got a few beautiful teak dining room tables, again, paired up with outdoor pieces that are in extruded resin and aluminum cast frames. A few different finishes for those. Beautiful gondola series. And the gondola series is, again, an original designed by John and Eleanor McGuire. So it's been around for a long time, and we do that both as outdoor and indoor. And then we've got some beautiful Barbara Berry lounge pieces. This is a really great shot of how we secure the cushions. And these are all cushion cores that will allow the moisture to drip through, and so you don't have any kind of mold or moisture issues. We're going to see in the next couple of shots that we've partnered with perennials, but this is a great shot of the extruded resin and kind of the texture that we can also achieve on our resin. Pretty shot of the teak, and then again of the resin and the different patterns that we can weave with our resin too. Shot of the gondola. And then these are getting into some of our perennial fabrics. So we've partnered with perennials. It's an acrylic dyed solution-based fabrics that are stain resistant and fade resistant, and you can use them with confidence in the outdoors. Beautiful colors. So again, the advantage for us partnering with perennials is that you can grade these fabrics onto any of our pieces. So both indoor and outdoor throughout all of our furniture brands, you can use, we have about 100 patterns here at Baker. So you can use those on any of our pieces. And again, just really looking towards the durability of perennial fabrics. This is a fairly new relationship within the last year and a half, and it's going very well. We're really excited to have their fabrics in our showroom. Somebody's cute puppy posing in that great shot of outdoor. And then final thoughts. McGuire truly is such an iconic, beautiful brand that blends so well with not just only McGuire, but with anybody's furniture. It just lends a different material story. There's a lot of visual and tactile interest to all of their pieces. And I just love the blending of like a wood table, a solid wood table with beautiful rattan target chairs. I think it's just one of the best design looks there can be, and a really smart way to be able to put together something that's really unique for your customer. And beautiful burr cut chairs. We do this in a lounge chair as well. And just, you can use McGuire in so many different applications, and it really changes up the look and the personality of a room. The beautiful marble Ratzinger settees. I would love to live there. And that is the end of our slideshow. Thank you so much for joining us and finding out a little bit more about McGuire. Again, I went through this fairly quickly, and certainly if there's more information that you would like to have with regards to craftsmanship or finishing or applications for McGuire in your project, Sue and David would be so happy and pleased to be able to give you some ideas, suggestions, help, whatever you might be needing from us. And again, thank you so much for joining us. We really appreciate it. Have a great afternoon. Bye-bye.